On this week's show, the Tread Plus will cost $6,000 and other earnings call updates.
Plus, our perspective on Peloton on tour in Atlanta, college partnerships, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel, John Pruitt, and John Mills.
Welcome to episode 142 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I am John Pruitt. I am joined as always by my co-host, Amanda Siegel, as well as our guest co-host who's sitting in with us today, Mr. John Mills. Hey, y'all. What's happening?
What's going on?
Hey, Amanda.
How's it going?
This is kind of cool.
Excited
Look at us. We're so like high tech. Yeah. I mean, and we even have celebrity Chris Lewis able to pop in there every now and again. I mean, tell me that's not cool.
It's like a little clubhouse party room here.
Nothing to see here.
That's big news right there.
Yeah, we got things to see. Well, hello, everybody. And I know that we have some excited folks this week because we heard that people were very upset there was no show last week. So apologies for that, as Chris Lewis and I were, kind of doing the whole Alpharetta Atlanta thing, which was amazing. And we will talk about towards the end of the show. But, yes.
With a guest appearance from John Mills in Atlanta as well for part of the week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For a little bit of time.
We were sorry you weren't able to stay for the big attraction, but, I never got to see you there, but I know that Chris did and some of the other Atlanta folks, so that was really cool that they got you there. But yeah, it's kind of cool having all four of us on here. All right. Well, there's a lot to talk about. So we will not chit-chat in the beginning because there is just too much. So I will start off by saying that before we get started with the news, we'd like to remind you how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button to make sure that you never miss an episode.
Yes, and you can also listen to us if you're on the go. We are on all podcast platforms, of course. Just search Pelo Buddy TV, hit the notifications, ring that bell so you never miss an update or an episode, and also leave us those fantastic 5-star reviews that we receive from time to time. We like to read those on the show. We also appreciate a lot of the feedback that we get from you on how we can add and improve the show. So please keep those coming.
Yeah, and as John said, like if there's anything under a 5, don't bother leaving a review. But if it's 5-star, then of course we're fine. We're fine for you to leave one. I mean, and of course, folks, we are on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Oh no, hold on, it's not called Twitter anymore. It's called X.
X, baby.
You got to get it right. TikTok, etc. So Twitter X. So make sure that you are catching us on those. It was amazing to know how many people didn't know we were on all those platforms as I was making friends in Atlanta. So make sure that you subscribe and know everything that is going to happen in the Peloton world. And now, guys, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
Well, there's a lot to chat about today, folks, so let's get right into it. We'll kick off today's show with the updates Peloton have shared in a letter to investors by CEO Barry McCarthy. The updated Peloton Tread Plus, yes, you heard me right, is expected to be released and is going to be priced around $6,000. This is a significant increase from the previous price of $4,295, making the increase approximately $1,500 to $2,000 more. The newer tread is priced at $2,995, which means that the tread plus is pretty much double what the original, what the actual tread is costing. So we definitely, I know that there was a lot of chatter about this price, price point, that they are coming out to it, but there are folks that are very excited to have it return to the market. Peloton plans to resume sales of the Tread Plus during the 2023 holiday season, with the first deliveries expected in early 2024. The first 10,000 Tread Plus units sold will be fulfilled from existing inventory and is expected to ship about 6 weeks after pre-orders begin. After those initial 10,000 units are sold, there will be a waiting period as Peloton starts manufacturing the new devices. So the Consumer Product Safety Commission, the CPSC, has approved a new rear guard design for the Tread Plus. Installations of this rear guard for existing Tread Plus owners are expected to begin in January 2024. And Peloton has emphasized that the delivery of the new Tread Plus units will only commence once the retrofit campaign for the rear guard is well underway. So as a reminder, the Tread Plus was recalled back in May of 2021. I can't believe it's over 2 years ago, and has not been available to purchase. But as part of the recall, members could opt to return their Tread Plus for a full refund, which I did. The deadline, though, for those that haven't and are still interested in doing so is November 2023. But clearly doesn't make any sense unless your extended warranty has expired and you're interested in buying the new one, which will then give you a new extended warranty. And lastly, in a statement from Barry McCarthy, he highlighted that the CPSC's approval of the new rear guard and mentioned that Peloton will install those rear guards for members who request it. So what are your thoughts, guys? I'm curious to hear.
Yeah, I mean, that price right there, initially, he told us a few months ago, CEO Barry McCarthy, Uncle Barry, he told us a few months ago that the new price is not.
So we were kind of prepared.
The old price, right? It's going to be something much more. Right. We were kind of prepared. But, and then inflation, and I think that it's understandable that it's going to, there's a cost to this. But I heard a lot of people like whining about that price, although I do expect many people to pay.
I think a lot about that $6,000 price. You have to factor in tax on top of that, and you have to factor in the extended warranty, because we all know with these things you need to get the extended warranty. So it's really going to be about $7,000 all in.
Yeah, just to give some context, I looked up what I originally paid for my Tread Plus back in October of 2020, and I pulled up the original order I was just curious to see, how close it was to 6,000, the new price. And with the 27-month additional warranty, the extended warranty on top of it, it was $46.20. And then I got like some resistance bands and a water bottle with a $100 referral credit that I used. And then with tax, which was $257 in Michigan, the total was $48.77 and 70 cents out the door. So yeah, it's definitely pushing almost 7 Gs right there if you factor in. And you definitely want to get that extended warranty if you're going to get, this machine.
No question. No question. And, interestingly enough, somebody actually put it in perspective for me, because I was kind of talking about it, and somebody said that these slatted treads can run up to about $15,000. I didn't realize that. So they aren't cheap.
Yeah.
They aren't cheap.
Yeah, when I went to the last visit I did in London back in April, I went to Harrods, and I went into their fitness area, and they have, I'm trying to remember the name of the brand. It's like a super premium high end
Woodway
workout equipment, not Woodway, like Assault Techno Gym. I think it was called Techno Gym. And the treadmill, it was like a slatted treadmill that I was on. It was like 15,000 pounds.
Wow.
So that was a super premium like brand right there. So just for some comparison.
And one interesting thing.
People have said, for years, with regards to the Tread Plus, about its comfort, right? And about how everybody loves the Tread. Everybody who has it, and how it felt kind of running on that tread, and everybody kind of loves it. So I think there's I know there's the sticker shock, but I do think there's going to be, those that are a little, been hearing that for all these years.
Well, let's be honest. And Amanda, you could probably weigh in if you want to give your real opinion on it. But if you returned your Tread Plus for whatever reason during that period, and you got the baby tread, that's a major downgrade, in my opinion, because I've run on the tread at PSNY and PSL, and it's super it's really rattly. It's not as the base obviously is way lighter with the Tread Plus, so it just doesn't feel as secure, and the screen shakes a lot with the side bars there. So.
All right, so I will give my 2 cents. And having had both, I literally had to return mine. I was still having issues. They had replaced everything. I was out of warranty at the end, and I almost had a brand new tread, and it still didn't work. My screen just would not work. So, having replaced it, I got to tell you, I'm okay with the other tread. It was definitely an initial adjustment. I'm not a runner. I am a runner, but I'm not a runner. So, I'm not going to go run marathons that I need to be training on something that's going to give me that extra, cushioning and et cetera. For what I'm doing on the tread, it serves its purpose. And especially when I'm down in Miami and I don't have my Peloton tread, I recognize how fortunate I am to have anything that's Peloton, because, I hate being on the app. No one can see me on there. There's no metrics that you're getting. So if it comes to having a Peloton piece of hardware and one can't afford the other, I got to tell you that the regular tread is fine. And I have loved being on it. So, again, it's definitely a call there. I know for some of you that are diehard, Tread Plus lovers, you're not giving it up for anything. And I get it. I totally get it. And for me, who, tends to want to have everything shiny and bright and beautiful, I'm okay with keeping, I discussed it with Mark, and I'm keeping my tread. I am not going to get the Tread Plus back. I just don't know if it's worth it.
And speaking of, everything being new and bright and beautiful, one interesting note, and you kind of touched on this, but the first 10,000 units, Barry McCarthy mentioned that those will come from existing inventory. So potentially what he's referring to there are these devices that were made 2 years ago that have been sitting in warehouses waiting for them to be sold, not returned. I literally don't think you can sell returns.
Tread Pluses.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but so they will have those. They will have the rear guard installed on them, but I think they're going to go through those first. And he mentioned there might be a delay after that because they have to stand up new manufacturing lines. So they're not going to be brand new ones built in Taiwan or anywhere right now. It's going to be those 10,000 ones from they had on hand before.
Yeah. That have just been sitting, that have just been sitting in a massive warehouse for the last 2 and a bit years.
And that seemed to be a common gripe in some of the social media posts. People are saying, "Oh, you're one of the first to get it," but it's going to be some piece of hardware that's been collecting dust, obviously, somewhere in a warehouse for the past 2+ years. So,
yeah, interesting food for thought for everybody, and an interesting discussion for sure.
Be interesting to see how quickly they go through 10,000. Those first 10,000.
Yeah, it will be. All right, let's move on. John Mills, the floor is yours, my friend. Tell us all about that earnings call.
Yes. Well, this week, Peloton released its fiscal fourth quarter 2023 earnings results, along with the earnings call with analysts and investors to discuss the results. While Peloton posted a wider than expected loss, it topped expectations on revenue, pulling in for $642 million versus the expectation of $639 million. As expected, Peloton sales dropped in their fiscal fourth quarter due to seasonality. CEO Barry McCarthy said the slowdown exceeded our expectations through May and through the first 3 weeks of June as consumer spending shifted towards travel and experiences. He added, then 8 weeks ago, the trend reversed itself and we began to see a re-acceleration in hardware sales. While the projected outlook from Peloton executives on the call was positive, CEO Barry McCarthy spoke of unwelcome surprises such as the Dish Network's legal settlement and the seat post issue. Peloton stated they have had nearly 750,000 requests for the seat post, of which 340,000 had been fulfilled. The remaining replacements will be delivered by the end of September, which is 3 months earlier than expected. The company also shared that they currently have around 80,000 memberships currently paused, and they believe around 15 to 20,000 of those are due to the seat post recall. The recall led to an additional accrual of $40 million for actual costs incurred, as well as anticipated future recall-related expenses. Peloton noted that there have been a higher number of app subscriptions at the App Plus level, which was not expected. Since the relaunch, there has been 900,000 downloads of the app, with 2/3 being new to the brand. Barry McCarthy also mentioned that they are seeing a shift in Peloton users, with more men, Gen Z, Black and Hispanic consumers. The launch of Peloton for Business was also mentioned on the call. The launch will allow companies like Volvo to access the Peloton app, all access memberships, and discounted hardware, including the Bike, Bike Plus, Tread, and Guide. It was also mentioned that Peloton expects to add the Bike Plus and Row to their commercial offering soon, which will add more opportunities for businesses to have Peloton hardware in their settings. They also said they plan to add the Tread Plus to be commercially available, as well as once it has fully returned for sale. Shares of Peloton stock were trading down more than 20% following the release of the earnings data, but Barry McCarthy stated that the stock price does not reflect the energy in the building, mentioning that Peloton did achieve positive cash flow for the quarter if you exclude the Dish Network settlement, a goal that Barry set several quarters ago as part of restructuring and cutting costs. What I kind of in listening to the call, and I think this is really my love-hate relationship with Uncle Barry, and that is that I know everything that he's doing is right, and I it's stuff that has to happen, and it is creating the turnaround. It's all great. But damn, his presentation, I can't, the presentation doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies, but it's just him, I get it. And I got that same feel yesterday. It's like, it felt like I'm explaining why this isn't what you would expect. And I don't feel the energy in, I'm confident that we've got this right. Even though his words are saying that, you don't feel it, right? And, I don't know. It's just Uncle Barry, I guess. But and then there are all these surprises that unexpected surprises with regards to like bringing down net income and of course free cash flow, the $75 million that they had to pay to Dish Networks, which then created this the $74 million in free cash flow loss. That I know it's a one-time thing. But you take the tone and that, and you go,
it's not good.
So I don't know. I don't know. I guess ultimately, like he said, they would have been $1 million up had it not been for that, which would have met what they expected.
Barely squeaking by on that number.
Maybe it's good. But yeah, he just made it if you get rid of the $75 million. But I guess we should be looking at it more from that light. That
I thought it
could have been positive.
And his statement about how the stock price doesn't reflect the energy in the company or the members, like that's been evident for a while now, but it seemed to be more so on this call than others. The stock price dropped that 20% almost immediately as soon as the numbers came out. But there's always been that disconnect between what they're doing for the members versus does that have an impact on the stock price and the long-term viability of the health of the company, which, I don't know how they're going to fix that dichotomy there.
Right. And I think from an analyst perspective, I think, I don't know if it matters much to them whether it was a surprise or if it was planned and expected. I mean, I know there's seasonality associated with some of the things that happen, but how much can you continue to say seasonality? I mean, or an unexpected cost. I think from an analyst perspective, they just see it, some of these numbers as just a miss. And if they're seeing it that way, I think, the firms see it that way. And then you have a stock price that kind of goes down. So, but yeah, from a member perspective, all of us are like, yeah, everything's good. But, and from those perspectives, I think that kind of explains the stock
us
price.
Being cheerleaders and rah-rahing doesn't put money in the bank, though. So we want to see that stock price go back up. I'm happy to be a cheerleader if I'm making some money while I'm doing it.
Exactly. Right.
And this was the first quarter, I believe, that they ever dropped their number of connected fitness subscribers. So that's potentially a concerning thing moving forward. Hopefully that's a one-time fluke, but they're projecting a loss next quarter as well of even more.
And you think that's directly attributable, like John mentioned, to the people paused their memberships for all those C-Post recalls?
I'm not sure. I'm sure that has something to do with it because I believe they changed their reporting and now a pause will count as a cancellation if it's more than a month. I don't know specifics of what they said, but they mentioned something to that effect. But I would think everyone at this point who would have paused it is paused. So I'm not sure what the forecasted drop for next quarter is attributed to.
It's just attrition. Like, somebody commented on the Pelo Buddy post about that, saying, a lot of people are going to Apple Fitness, to the other, digital fitness providers. People are going outdoors, obviously. So
I thought that they had actually, and they mentioned that people going outdoors now for outdoor experiences. I thought that they had dropped connected fitness subs last quarter as well, but I could be wrong there. I thought they had, but I do remember
last quarter was overall subscribers.
That
not the connected fitness paying who own the hardware. So, there's the big number that includes the household memberships, which is the 6.5 to 7 million versus the connected fitness subscriber, which is the core paid, subscriptions.
I got you. Yeah, subs versus members. But I also remember Uncle Barry saying last quarter that the expectation was that there was going to be attrition and they were going to be losing subs. So, like, I saw the 29,000 that they lost, which is kind of a bummer, but I wasn't as surprised by that one. That one, he kind of prepped us for, like, that was going to happen. But yeah, hopefully that
all right.
changes as well.
I guess we'll wait and see. None of us on this podcast are going anywhere, so we'll just have to hang around and watch the train go by, and see. Hopefully, there's no massive crash.
Yeah,
I'm not jumping ship to Beachbody or SoulCycle.
No.
As much as I like Jennifer Jacobs.
You ain't doing that?
All right, let's shift to some news. Let's shift to a story that I'm very excited about. That's why I signed this one to myself.
Of course you are.
So last Tuesday, Peloton announced that they will now have an official college strategy, which will see them partner with university colleges and some of the athletes themselves there. In the press release, they stated their goal is to bring the brand's impactful and entertaining workouts to campuses through its world-class content, co-branded Peloton Bikes, and elevated on-site experience. Building on the brand's commitment to empower anyone, anywhere, anytime, Peloton's college campus integrations will bring the magic of Peloton to students, alumni, and fans across the country through 3 strategic pillars. And so while Peloton says they'll be working with lots of universities and colleges in the coming months, they also shared this past Tuesday, they're launching this effort with a partnership with the University of Michigan. And they posted a photo of a Bike Plus in maize and blue colors with a maize colored, flywheel. Looked really sharp, I got to say. And you'll see these bikes on the sidelines of games at Michigan Stadium, in social media posts, as well as with some NIL, which stands for name, image, and likeness partnerships with the athletes themselves. So I'm super excited about this one.
There was a lot of rumbling about that, though. There was a lot of rumbling.
With the athletes.
College fans are very passionate. Obviously, Ash Pryor is an Ohio State Buckeye. Andy Spears,
Miami,
University of Florida. Miami, Florida.
University of Miami. Nope, University of Miami. Yeah.
University of Miami, Kendall's UCLA. So obviously, there's a lot of polarizing opinions there. But there's a strong Michigan alumni base. It seems in the Peloton membership in the community. Just to add on to that, they'll have co-branded Peloton bikes that'll be utilized not just with the football we're talking about. This is going to be across all various Michigan athletic training facilities on campus in Ann Arbor. So they'll be, it'll be used for football, basketball, hockey, Olympic sports teams. The press release went on to state the co-branded bike, it won't be available for purchase, just in case you were wondering if you could get your hands on a maize and blue Peloton Bike Plus. It's just exclusively for U of M. But it will be kind of cool to see how they integrate the Peloton experience into, the social media campaigns, the advertising. Obviously, when you're watching some of these sports on TV or you're attending in person. Peloton said they're going to sponsor what's called the Maze Rage, which is the student cheering section at Michigan men's and women's basketball games. And they'll also integrate student athlete influencers in an expanded name and image and likeness campaign to better reach students, alumni, and fans to build that brand awareness, to drive participation in promotional activities, and to pursue their fitness ambitions.
Yeah.
I thought that.
Well, I love this. This is awesome, right? I love this. But you know what? I need them to expand this. I need other universities to have their colors on these bikes, and I need this to be linked with my family. Jess Sims doing college game day, and I need the overlap. And I need it all working.
It's such an easy transition. Yeah, with Jess already a part of game day. Yeah.
What did you want to say, Chris? No, hold on. Chris has something to say?
Right.
I just say, the NIL partnerships, they just started allowing those in the last year or two for anyone. So it's going to be interesting to see how Peloton does that and integrates with that, because it's new for any company doing this. So it's going to be interesting to see what partnerships and paid advertisements they end up coming with some of those student athletes from all that.
Yeah. So with this partnership, and upcoming college collaborations, Peloton has said they're trying to raise awareness in 3 different ways. So with the branded integrations, obviously with app discounts for access to Peloton content, and social media content from student and athletes. So obviously they drive the awareness right there, being all over social media and having huge followings, on TikTok and Instagram and all those different platforms. But with brand integrations, they said working with colleges and universities, Peloton will offer co-branding opportunities that may include its bikes and apparel. So, it would be cool if we saw some Michigan Block M, Peloton shirts. That would be really cool in maize and blue colors. But they said they're going to be working with partners to bring life in-game activations, including hype moments and unique experiences featuring its world-renowned instructors. So Peloton will work with colleges to develop bespoke benefits for their students that may include integration of Peloton connected fitness units, CFUs in college recreational and or athletic facilities. So they really want to get the hardware and get their presence, in every, space on campus that they partner with.
It'll be interesting to see what the, they're talking about specialized content for this. They did a partnership with the German soccer team for 2 years, and it had some custom content as well. But I think that all we saw out of that for the general public was 2 or 3 yoga classes from the 2-year partnership. So it'll be curious to see if any of that custom content, is more visible to members in terms of specialty classes or not.
Yeah. I also like the idea of bringing it into the youth, like bringing it into, these college, getting them activated. I mean, a lot of them, as you say, it's going to be part of their training process, but then does it look like they'll leave and then go and buy their own equipment later, which I like that concept of it as well. From a marketing perspective, you get so hooked on the product while you're in college that once you're, out in the real world, you're going out and buying your bike or, etc. So I like that thought aspect of it as well. That could it then expand onto, folks later.
Well, they are offering, the part of the 3 ways they're trying to raise awareness. They are offering a special price of $6.99 a month for the Peloton app, the tier 1 pricing for active undergrad and graduate students. So they can, they get their foot in the door that way. And obviously, hopefully they can, pull them in, and then eventually, obviously they become, members on the equipment. They get the hardware.
Yeah, so, Peloton was talking about that app discount, but one thing to note is that any student can get that same discount. That's not exclusive for Michigan students. That's a global student discount that's available to anyone who can verify themselves through whatever the student verification platform is. It's just they're re-promoting that as part of this.
Nice.
And go ahead, John.
Something that you mentioned earlier, Amanda, I've heard Peloton talk about that. I mean, years past, about the idea of, the demographic and how can we get to them younger in life, and then the analytics that kind of state that if you get to them at that age, and then they're more likely to continue that throughout their life. And so that's interesting. I absolutely agree with that as a mechanism or a means to do that, is to get into these colleges. But also, I just want to give one quick shout out. Last week, I was at Fordham University, which is why I had to leave Atlanta, supporting my family, Jess Sims, who was doing an event using her own time to support a foundation called Precious Dreams Foundation. And what they do is they provide support to kids that are in foster care or kids that are in need of support for and supplying back to school gear for them. And so Jess coming in and supporting this organization, they did a charity basketball game, allowed them to not only gain in cash donations, but a gain in a lot of different back to school products for these kids. So shout out to Jess. Another university interaction.
That's amazing.
It was a good time.
All right, Chris, you have something?
Yeah, so just tying off what John was saying about how there was going to be the co-branded University of Michigan bikes. They said you are not able to buy those. However, in the earnings call yesterday, Barry McCarthy did say that there would be other custom bikes coming that both customers, consumers, and businesses would be able to buy. They had teased this last month with the picture of those 3, a rose gold, a white, and a yellow bike, saying, what do you think? And yesterday, Barry confirmed that coming. He said that this quarter, we began work to bring a variety of limited edition bike frame colors and graphics to both the consumer and commercial markets, like the University of Michigan announcement. He said to expect to hear more about that this fall. So that's coming.
Peloton has unveiled its new Peloton for Business portfolio. This will encompass all of Peloton's business-to-business services. So the portfolio will include services for various sectors, including hospitality, corporate wellness, multifamily residential, education, healthcare, gyms, and community wellness. Greg Heibel has been appointed as the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Peloton for Business. He had previously held a position at American Express. While many of the services under the Peloton for Business umbrella have been part of the company really for some time, the announcement signifies a consolidation of these services under a single management structure with a refreshed focus and branding. So over the past year, more than 7.5 million rides have taken place on Peloton bikes in commercial settings worldwide. Furthermore, Peloton has observed high retention rates among enterprises that provide the Peloton corporate wellness benefit, with over 93% of clients renewing annually. So that's a pretty awesome number to get to see that. There are definitely advantages for its corporate partners. These include, strengthening businesses with fitness solutions tailored for various audiences, attracting and retaining talent by offering the renowned Peloton fitness experience, enhancing well-being and workouts and practices that boost both physical and mental health, and of course, building a strong community by leveraging Peloton's vast and engaged fitness community. The Peloton for Business will be available in all Peloton's international markets, including the US, Canada, UK, and Australia. However, solutions for corporate wellness clients will be initially launched in all markets except for Germany. So again, an interesting, concept of this consolidation and moving the business aspect of it forward.
Yeah, I thought this one, this is really just a rebranding. It seems like they did bring in new leadership at the top to oversee the branding.
Right.
But when they had bought Precor, they moved all their commercial business over to Precor, and they were calling Precor Peloton Commercial. A couple months ago, they announced Precor was going to be an independent business. They stopped talking about Peloton Commercial. And I think this is taking everything that had been Peloton Commercial, putting it back in Peloton, calling it business, and with a new VP on top to oversee it. And, give it new direction going forward. But this is kind of like a reset square one, it seems like, for all of that.
I like it. All right.
Well, Peloton has announced a new partnership with YMCA in Chicago, Illinois. They recently shared a press release. Peloton and YMCA of Metropolitan Chicago announced the launch of a strategic partnership aimed at advancing community health and well-being, increasing member and community access to best-in-class fitness programming, and closing racial health and opportunity gaps across communities. So as part of the partnership, select YMCA locations throughout Chicago will have Peloton equipment and provide access to the Peloton content. So right now, there's 4 locations. Between those, we'll have a total of 12 Peloton bikes available for use. There's a South Side location, one in Fry Family, McCormick, and Sage. And the Lakeview, Chicago location will have access, members have access to free workouts on the Peloton app. So it looks like if it's successful, it could expand to more YMCAs in the area and throughout the region. But Peloton instructor Ash Pryor, she was recently there at a Peloton YMCA adult day camp event in Chicago a week or two ago. And it took place on Saturday, August 19th at the McCormick YMCA, where they have some Peloton bikes. And the event description read, to celebrate the launch of our new partnership with Peloton, we're co-hosting a special one-day-only adult day camp event. And you're invited to stop by. It was from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the afternoon for fitness, food, and festivity. There were some fitness classes that were instructor-led and some activities led by YMCA. and some arts and crafts and some day camp activities, as well as a panel discussion was held featuring Ash. There were a mix of Peloton members and non-Peloton YMCA members there. And as a line formed outside, Ash came out to talk to folks as they were waiting. She made time for everyone to, just more than just the standard hello. And upon entry, attendees had to sign in. They were given a complimentary red YMCA water bottle. There was also a small stage set up outside the YMCA, which is where they held a morning stretch and a HIIT class that took place there. Ash led the 15-minute stretch, which a member had reported to us, which was fantastic, even though it started raining during it. And then after that, a YMCA instructor led attendees through a HIIT workout that, according to the member that provided us all the details and photos, it did run a little long, but it was a great workout. The YMCA instructor is Becky Neal. She's a mom of 5 who recently became the director of sports and fitness for the YMCA of Metro Chicago. And she plugged the Peloton bikes that are now available at select YMCA locations. And then following the conclusion of that HIIT class, participants returned inside for a lunch catered by a local Costa Rican restaurant. And then during the lunch, there was a panel that featured Ash along with Dory C. McCarthy, who's the president and CEO of YMCA Metropolitan Chicago. Dory also participated in the stretch and HIIT workouts and is also incidentally a Peloton member. Topics that they discussed included, the announcement of the partnership with YMCA, the idea that fitness is supposed to be fun, and that it's not selfish to make time for yourself and for fitness.
Nice. Love that Ash got to be there. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I love it. Yeah, it's good stuff because, the idea of getting into YMCA, I know this is just in that one metropolitan area now, but more broadly, is just more kind of common experience and exposure to Peloton for those that may not have really considered it, kind of broadening the brand. And then from the instructor's perspective, I think, anything that's going to get them more exposure and kind of broaden their celebrity is probably good. So yeah, I love that whole thing. I hope that partnerships with YMCA.
Correct.
Yeah, one of the press releases actually mentioned that so Chicago's getting all the press right now, but there's also a similar test going with a city in Texas right now, I believe. So there's a second test going on there, and it sounded like they're going to see how this goes and then potentially look to expand it, wider outside those markets. And even though this is the official test for these 2 cities, there's several cities that already the local YMCAs have done this on their own, and they've brought in Peloton bikes without this official partnership. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes from there, because some have already been trying it. So, it could grow quickly.
Yeah, and just getting the name out there and getting people active. I mean, that's really the main, point about it. It's just keeping people active, which I love, All right. Well, Peloton had communicated on a not such positive note, communicated to its members about an issue concerning a recent software update on several of its hardware devices. So the update affected all of the hardware. Some members reported that their devices got locked during the update, displaying either an installing updates or a blank screen. Peloton did send an email suggesting a fix that would likely solve the problem for most users. The fix involved performing a factory data reset. The issue was first identified on August the 17th, and an official incident report was posted on the Peloton status page that folks could head over and take a look at it. Members who faced the problem have all, been able now to regain access to their devices by conducting that factory reset. The detailed instructions were found on the official incident report of how to do that. So I was not affected. Were any of you guys affected by the update?
No, but just after that update, that when people were complaining all over social channels about their bike just being stuck at some certain percentage of updating. When I powered on my bike last weekend, I got a weird prompt that I had to like reset my bike in order to install the update, which I've never received that sort of message before when a software update is done, but it restarted and it was fine. So there was no hold up with it.
All right, good. No, me neither.
Same. I didn't see it at all.
And we've got some updates to the rower. So Peloton is starting to roll out a change to the pace target levels that are offered on the Peloton Row, increasing the number available from 6 to 10. So like many other changes, it appears to be slowly rolling out to owners of the device. So you may not have it yet, but it could potentially take a few days. It's rolling out to most members have reported seeing a new pop-up on their Row advertising the new change to them, which simply reads, Pace targets update going from 6 to 10 levels. We've expanded our pace target levels from 6 to 10. Here's what you can expect. More overlap between levels, allowing for a smoother progression, narrowed ranges between easy and max for seamless transitions between intensities, and levels have been migrated to the closest level in the new set. So there is no action needed on your part. So as a refresher, numerical paces aren't given out during rowing classes. The instructors, the way they are in, cycling, running classes on Peloton. So instead, the instructor just indicates an effort level, for recovery, like easy, moderate, challenging, or max. So depending on what you set your personal pace target level to, which I can't even tell you what mine's currently at, the Row will show you the pace range you should be aiming for. So for example, in level 1, the easy range might be from a 4-minute 30 to a 4-minute pace, while level 2, the easy range could be slightly faster, at a pace of say 350 to 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So until now, there had only been 6 different levels to choose from. In particular, the increase from level 4 to 5 was apparently a very significant jump. So with this change, Peloton is trying to smooth out the transitions between zones, obviously by adding those 4 additional levels.
Yeah, this change is in particular, like you were just saying, that jump from trying to go to level 4 to level 5. You needed to go roughly 20 to 25 seconds pace faster to get to the bottom of 5 going from 4. So
that higher range.
It was quite a big jump there. So this should help people, feel like they're progressing when they can bump up their level and not just be immediately, oh, I'm nowhere close to this, I need to go back. But then when you go back, you're at the top of the level. So it's just going to make it a smoother transition. And you can, just get that confidence boost that you're increasing your level as you go along, since there's now a wide range of levels.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I was going to ask the question if this was from feedback, but it sounds like it likely was.
I saw pretty much every day people posting about, I'm trying to go from a 4 to a 5, and that's just a crazy jump. We're going to go back down, and I'm going to try for longer and try it again. But it's just that in particular was a big jump right there.
We also had some user interface updates to go over. So Peloton implemented a bunch of minor interface changes across multiple platforms. So first, there's a new text font on both the web browser and the hardware devices, a font that's slightly narrower and more condensed than the previous font that was used. Next, on the bike, tread, and row devices, the grid of classes has increased from 3 to 4 classes displayed across the screen. So this is allowing a higher number of classes, obviously, to be displayed on the tablet at any given time, seeing more options right there. And lastly, members have noticed a little live icon displaying on some of the most recent classes. For example, a 9 a.m. Eastern time, August 17th, live icon was shown on 2 of Jess King's rides that were dropped straight to the on-demand library. It's currently unclear what the live icon means. At first glance, you might think that it indicates an on-demand class that is currently encoring. However, these particular classes were never scheduled to encore, so it almost seems to me like it's a premiere that they're putting on. I'm seeing it for a lot of London classes.
Right, for all
right
those
now
London
with
classes
PSL being closed.
Exactly. And I do kind of go back to look, and a lot of these encores are, of course, old classes, because in the past it hadn't been like that, but they're old classes, and they're kind of saving these ones, that newly dropped ones, to premieres. So I am seeing that on those.
One small detail, I'm not sure if anyone that's listening or watching to this or to the show, but that I brought up to Chris Lewis in our WhatsApp chat. But I noticed that with the font change, so I have a tag that I use, the Straight Dudes for Cody one that I created, some years back, and the whole tag would be displayed on the leaderboard. Now it's slightly cut off for some reason, and also in my location field, that would be fully displayed. I would have my IG handle. Then I'd have a little heart, a little high five symbol, and then another little colored heart there. Now the third heart is cut off for some reason, and there's no rhyme or reason. Chris, you had mentioned maybe it was because of the graphics change or the tweak of the fonts. It's just a little annoyance thing. I was like, why is this cut off?
I think it was just a side effect of the font change when they did that. It's, cuts the total size. There's one less character that can fit in it. So yours, just the tail end's getting cut off from that.
All right. Well,
it's kind of rude.
We won't be able to see you. We won't be able to see extra heart, John. What can I tell you? We'll only have to get one heart, one little bit of love.
I had to remove the extra heart so I didn't get the little dot, so that indicates that you have to hit it to see the rest of it. But I'm a little peeved about the Straight Dudes for now. It just says Straight Dudes for Co. Whatever. Third world problems.
Third world problems. All right. Well, some more third world problems. All for One is back, and Peloton announced the full lineup for the 2023 Music Festival, which will take place from September the 7th to the 9th. The artists set to participate in the festival include, and I'll go ahead and run them off to you guys. I'm probably going to butcher some of these names. I know that I am. We have, and I know that, and John Pruitt will correct me, so no fear. If I butcher them, you'll know you'll get a correction. I mean, absolutely. So they are, and the reason that I'll butcher them is because, truth be told, I don't know half of these artists.
You don't know them, yeah.
All right, so we've got, right? All right, John.
Yeah, that's me.
All right, so we've got Armin van Buuren, we've got Betty Who, the Black Keys, Shaka Khan, Chris Stapleton, City Girls, Dave and the Dave Matthews Band, the Eagles, Ellie Goulding, Felix, Juan, FKJ, Hoosier, Carly Yukas, Katy Perry, The Kid Laroi. Am I messing them up? Come on. LL Cool J, LP Giobbi, the Gorillas, Giobbi, the Gorillas. Oops, I lost the spot there. Machine Gun Kelly, Maren Morris, Metro Boomin, Miguel, Pusha T. We have Rao, Alejandro, Raya, Rima, Salt and Pepper, Sampa, Skrillex, 30 Seconds to Mars, and ZZ Top. And I think
the crowd goes mild.
What? And the crowd goes mild.
I'm impressed, Amanda. I feel for you because
John Mills is impressed with your reading, not the list.
Maybe 4 or 5 I would have got. I don't know.
Yeah, he's definitely in the reading, not the list, not the list.
You're reading.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely one of those meh moments. I think for most of us looking at the list. And look, there's a lot of meh moments about this particular All for One, in that there will be no live classes out of London. So with the PSL studio being closed, I don't know if some of the instructors, I'm sure that the instructors taped, before they went on, this hiatus. But I will share though that those that are interested in attending live classes, and there will be some at PSNY, will be able to book those slots starting this Tuesday. So make sure that the 29th you log on, because classes will drop for the 2 days. My understanding is that there will be some stuff going on. I don't know if everything, will be obviously out there. A lot of it will drop, on demand. What else do we have here? Yeah.
One note on that, in the press release they put out, they specifically mentioned that the All for One will include live artist series from Katy Perry, Skrillex, Hozier, and Shaka Khan. But then they said as well as on-demand classes featuring 15 of the others. So like you were saying, there's some that might not have any of the live classes. So it's going to be interesting to see which ones get the live ones and which ones get the on-demand ones.
Right. I want to add there. Sorry, one thing I want to add, Chris, is that they are going to go ahead and reintroduce these listening party classes, which will spotlight, festival artists representing the sound of a new generation. These classes will feature artists like Betty Who, Caliucas, The Kid Leroy, LP Giobbi, Metro Boomin, Raul Alejandro, Rai, and Rima. It will conclude with a hip-hop panel fireside discussion led by Adrian Williams, and it will feature icons in the hip-hop world, including Moni Love, to honor the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, and then Rock the Bells, founded by LL Cool J, who is also part, as we said, of the artist lineup, will be contributing as a culture partner for the event. So there is some exciting stuff that they're doing around it, and that clearly will be fun, getting them in and having this fireside chat, which I'm assuming will be an invitation-only event, but right?
I got to get an invite to this. To the Moni Love Fireside Chat? I got to get an invite to the Moni Love Fireside Chat.
So the intern that's listening to the show, that's reporting back, please make sure that John Mills what's your leaderboard? I'm going to mess it up.
Run, lift, live,
Run,
baby.
lift, and live. Make sure that he is on the invite list. I will pass.
I got to get it. The Moni Love.
That fireside chat was one of the classes from Chase that showed up on the Chase Experiences last week. So I'm not sure if there will be other classes or other spots that open up to Peloton members, or if it's only the Chase members who are going to get to go to that. But that sold out on the Chase website last week for the fireside chat.
Chase credit card.
Yeah.
That's with the Chase Sapphire credit card holders. Yeah. For a second, I thought you meant Chase Tucker, and I was like, where are we going?
No, okay. Chase Tucker. All right, so John Mills, that is a little memo to you to go and make sure that you get your Chase Sapphire card so that next time this happens.
All right. I mean, if that's what I got to do, right? If that's what I got to do, Peloton, okay, I'll get the Chase card, but just get me in the Moni Love Fireside Chat.
I mean, a couple, I don't know who y'all's favorites are. Well, we know John's Moni Love, but I'm kind of excited about Dave Matthews. I know the Jam Band member fans were very excited about that. I know we've also been a lot of folks have been clamoring for a Fish ride, but it'll be interesting to see who does Dave Matthews. Maybe I was thinking Dennis or Christine or maybe Andy, because
Dennis has the Hozier ride. We already know that. So because he was on the three classes they did, the Chase classes.
Okay.
I do like me some Hozier. I do like me some Hozier.
I do like some Black Keys, and I'm kind of pumped for ZZ Top, a little classic rock there. So it isn't totally all lackluster in my opinion, but
I'm not a rock fan, so I guess I'll be sitting this one
nobody's perfect,
out.
Amanda.
No, I am perfect, just not a rock fan.
Anyway, well, we've got another artist series. So Peloton announced the Max Martin artist series. It's technically a producer series in this case. It'll feature the music of Swedish pop songwriter Max Martin. It launched on Thursday, August 24th, and will feature 8 classes across 5 modalities, none of which are live. They are all dropped on demand, which was interesting. There's 3 classes in German. And what we have is a 30-minute Max Martin ride with Cody. So they're all on demand now currently, just so you're aware. 30-minute Max Martin walk plus run with Bex. A 20-minute Max Martin full body strength with Maddie. A 20-minute Max Martin power flow with Mariana Fernandez. A 15-minute Max Martin row with Katie Wong. And a 20-minute, these are the German ones now, a 20-minute Max Martin ride with Benny, a 10-minute Max Martin arms and light weights with Charlotte, and then a 30-minute Max Martin run with Tobias. And you can also expect to earn an Artist Series badge. I don't know if it's a special one or just the generic artist. Is it just a generic one,
Chris?
Just
the generic.
Okay. All right. All right, and then we just want to remind folks that PSNY will be closed from this Monday, the 28th, through to the following Monday, September 4th, which is Labor Day here in the U.S. According to Peloton, the closure is for regular maintenance, but clearly Labor Day had to play a role in there. It's somewhere in there. There will be no live classes, for this coming week. But of course, folks, as we tell you all the time, there is tons on demand. So, time for you to catch up on stuff that's on demand.
Yep. And while Peloton Studios London is closed, they have put out created a UK greatest hits collection, so you can revisit some of the most popular classes from members and from instructors, some of their favorites. But there's 41 classes total in the collection, so some of the most popular ones from all the UK instructors are available in this little compilation. I think it was the Peloton Studios Insta Reel. They highlighted JJ's Lincoln Park run, Leanne's Spice Girls ride, and Jocelyn's Christina Aguilera boot camp classes. Some of the real popular ones, though. So don't forget to give PSL some love, the instructors there, while they're on hiatus for that refresh, the glow up, or whatever they're calling it, the glow up at the studio.
And I'm sure that you've seen it, but our friend Jeffrey McKeechin is coming into town, John Pruitt. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
He has announced on his social media, we didn't have that in there, Chris, but he had announced on his social media he is coming in for 2 weeks and is going to be teaching classes. He's going to be doing some classes out of PSNY, unfortunately not member classes, but he is going to be doing both German and English.
Nice.
Yes. So he was really excited that he was going to be doing that and announced it on his social media this past week. I will be in New York and I will be seeing him. So I will give him a very big hug from you, John Pruitt. I'll make sure to do that.
And also we have a new monthly challenge for Guide folks that have the Peloton Guide. Before there was just, challenges for running, cycling, rowing, and strength. But now Guide users have this September rep goal challenge. So now you can rep it out during the month of September and take trackable strength classes on your Peloton Guide in order to hit the rep threshold levels of bronze, silver, and gold. So for gold, it's 2,500 reps or higher. Silver is 2,000 reps, and bronze is 1,500.
All right. And another week, another purge. And this week, John Pruitt decided to give me 2 weeks to roll into one. As there was no show last week, but Peloton has now conducted its 16th and 17th round of class library maintenance. In these past 2 weeks, the majority of classes filmed between January 4th and February 4th of 2020 have been removed. So that's a month's worth of classes. In the August 11th purge, some classes were saved, including a 20-minute sleep meditations from Aditi and Kristen, some Power Zone rides from Matt and Dennis. Ali loves Sundays with Love classes, and a 5K race prep class from Matt Wilpers. In the August 18th purge, 18 classes were exempted from the, and the majority of them were Power Zone rides. Again, Ali loves Sundays with Loves, was also preserved. There were also some random 5-minute cool downs, that were saved.
Yes, I was going to bring up.
Did you notice that?
I was going to bring up. Yeah, because one in particular, I had reached out to Jen Cotter about. So I don't know if you were going to mention the specific one, but I was going to give a little shout out to her as a thank you.
Which one?
So in a couple shows ago, when you did the last Purge update, I had mentioned there's a very popular 5-minute cool down with Dennis, and it's with long hair Dennis before he chopped the hair back in 2020. But basically, it just features one song, which is Grateful Dead's "Touch of Grey." So it's the Touch of Grey cool down. But I knew it was coming, and I had reached out to Jennifer Cotter, and I know a lot of folks in Dennis's Menaces, including Kyle Thompson, who goes by the Fooey on the leaderboard. He had also been probably reaching out on various social media channels to get this one saved as well. So I know there was a lot of people that were hoping and, doing what they could to save it. But yeah, this one was spared. And so, just a shout out to Jennifer Cotter for saving that one from the Great Purge.
That's awesome. All right. Well, 2 things of note too is that Peloton had actually initially purged the Billie Eilish and Guns N' Roses artist series because it was part of that, that time period. But the classes were restored within 24 hours of being removed. So if anybody panicked because they were a Billie Eilish or a Guns N' Roses fan, they are back there. So you are able to pull those classes up.
And I feel like, the instructors, I'm sure, have a little bit of say, too. I'm sure they probably reach out to the production team and say, if they notice or somebody reaches out to them and maybe they have some influence in getting it restored. Like we saw with Anna Greenberg's sleep meditation.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's gotta happen.
Some instructors aren't really having any saved. And then others are. So, I think this week some XOXO Cody classes even got purged. And you would have thought that would have been a series that might have been saved since Sundays with Love is being saved. And so I'm not sure how much of a say all of them have in that.
Unless maybe some are more vocal than others. Some might care more. Do you really think Cody cares? Probably not. So,
No.
hence not saving them. Whereas I can believe that Dennis cares, and that's why it's saved.
I think Cody cares about I'm sure he cares about his Britney ride and the Backstreet Boys ride, which were the Backstreet Boys ride was spared because it's a fantastic ride. But you did good point there as well. Kendall is doing a meet and greet. Peloton's continuing their series of special events in London while PSL is closed for renovations. And Kendall will be there on this coming Tuesday, the 29th, for a little meet and greet event. It's completely free. Right now, I checked as of Thursday, it was sold out, but it did require you to RSVP for a ticket. And it's going to be held from 6 to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, the 29th. And it's going to be around the corner at Peloton's corporate location at 1 Langley Street. So I'm sure we'll be seeing some social media posts from attendees in the coming days.
I think this one's actually just at the store part of it. So it's not in the studio, but it's in the store connected. It was the The one at Langley Street, I believe, was going to be the event with Benny and a stall. I'm not sure why that one wasn't at the store, but there was one that was at the corporate, but this one's just in the store portion that they recently renovated.
Are they like? I love all of this. Like the Peloton instructors from the U.S. going and they're like presenting in other parts of the country or in the U.K. like the crossover and kind of getting them exposure and vice versa. Like, I agree. I love all of that.
I got to tell you, it's so fun for the folks, certainly across the pond, to get to see some of the UK instructors, and for us to get to see the German and the UK instructors on this side. So I agree with you 100%.
And I think that's what they're trying to do with Peloton on Tour, is take some of that in a more official thing. So that's what we're seeing with Peloton on Tour, trying to see these spinoffs of it.
And that's a beautiful segue, Chris Lewis, for us to chat about Peloton on Tour. Oh, my word. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I made no notes because it'll all come from the heart, but I was definitely very, very pleased that I made the decision to head down to Atlanta and to get to be a part of Peloton on Tour. My initial draw was obviously John Hosking. As everybody knows, he's a favorite, and it was definitely a big draw. But I got to tell you, I came away having 5 new instructors that I think are just absolutely sensational. The event started on Thursday with the instructor experience, and it was held at the Alpharetta store. I believe the last standing store. I think there was one other, right, Chris Lewis in Atlanta. So this is the only store, a beautiful area, a beautiful, beautiful area. It's up north. It's a great little shopping area with an outside, it's kind of like an outside walking area. I have to say, I have nothing negative to say about the execution and production of Peloton on Tour for Atlanta. It was done, I thought, superbly well. The staff at the Alpharetta store were fantastic, and I've never seen a group of folks work so hard in 3 days as they did. They were just incredible, friendly, lovely, warm. They were exhausted. There was no question that they were exhausted, and yet you just didn't know it. As well as the corporate staff. Yeah.
Plus days of work getting ready for it that we didn't even see.
I'm sure.
We only saw the 3 days there, but I know they were getting ready for it all week leading up to it, if not further out.
And it just all seemed so seamless. So they started off with the instructor experience, which were half-hour intervals starting at noon. They were half-hour intervals, and then went on to everybody kind of lined up for their time. You got your band, you checked in. And they had 4 instructors kind of out on the floor at a time, with 2 that took a break. So I believe the 12 o'clock kind of got everybody, but then they did, rotate the instructors. The first station was just merely a meet and greet with 2 of the instructors, an opportunity to get a picture taken. They had a Polaroid that you could get taken, as well as an opportunity to chat with the instructors. The second station was an opportunity to either have the instructor do a shout out to you for down the road, if you wanted to look back at it, or for a friend that maybe loved that instructor and you were able to get a shout out done. Or alternatively, you could get a GIF made, a cute little GIF, which they then emailed out to folks after, the next day. And then the third station was the intention setting station, where you could set an intention and you could either write it down and put it up on the board in the store, or you could have the instructor sign it and you could take it home with you. So, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, for anyone who did LA, the event in Atlanta was pretty similar to the one in LA. Same 3 stations. So this was there wasn't many tweaks for this one compared to LA.
Right. We did have one extra instructor though. So LA only had the 5 instructors, and Atlanta, they did have 6. So just to kind of run through, because we don't want to give John all the love. There was John Husking. There was Matt Wolpers, Alex Toussaint, there was Chelsea Jackson Roberts, Kirsten Ferguson, and Marcel Dinkins. So those were the 6 instructors that had come. And I said this to John Mills before we started. Alex Toussaint intimidated me. And I got to tell you, after spending these 3 days with him, oh my goodness, he is just the most exceptional human being. I just have this adoration towards him. I'll talk about it in a minute, but he spoke in a panel and was just amazing. Matt Wolpers, I mean, just on another level. The others were fantastic too, but the guys were who stuck out for me, particularly in these 3 days. So that was Thursday. Thursday night, the instructors kind of went off. I believe that was the night that they went to the game. Chris, remind me, was that the night they went to? I believe they went to a football game on Thursday night. They went to the football on Thursday night. Friday started. Was it what? I think so.
They went to a football game? I figured they would have gone to a Braves game or a baseball game.
No, I think...
No, the events Friday were at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium where the Falcons play.
Yeah.
So because the Falcons, play there, they got to go on the field and then stay for the game and stuff.
Preseason, exactly.
Gotcha.
I knew it was football. But yeah, so they got to get a tour of the stadium, the inside of the stadium, and then they got to go to a game. Friday morning started very early for some. There were 2 sessions of field day, which was new for the Atlanta Peloton on Tour. They did not have this in Los Angeles, where they had an 8 o'clock session and a 10 o'clock session. There were about 100 folk that were able to sign up and pay for it. And they had a field day, just like you would imagine in school, which was just so much fun.
And they said this was inspired by the Instructor Summit activities. So that was kind of their model for this, was taking what the instructors had done at the summit and bringing it on tour and letting members take part in it. So that was kind of their inspiration for this.
Correct. So with that, they broke you up into groups. Each instructor had a team of 12. The first activity was to come up with a chant, which got you your initial scoring. It was about 10 points. You then moved on to a relay race, which was quite hilarious to say the least. But you were bunny hopping to crab walking to, egg spoon racing to,
Amanda, I believe Chris can play the video of you from this while you're talking on the video so people can get an idea.
I can't believe I actually succumbed to putting it on my social media for those 24 hours. That's it. It's not being replayed. I was bunny hopping across the field, which was quite hilarious to say the least. But
was it really hot? Was it really hot down there that weekend?
It was beautiful.
Yes.
No, it was beautiful. I mean,
No, it was very hot. Don't listen to Amanda. It was very, very, very hot. Yes.
It was hello. It was fun. They were wonderful. They had bottles of water for everybody. They kept us hydrated. They kept us, doing good. They had an ambulance waiting if anybody needed one. Thank God I didn't need one. Thank God. Anyway, from the relay race, we went on to puzzle making, which was the Peloton P, which was strategic, and you had to kind of figure out how to do that. And then lastly, you had a tug of war, which caused a couple injuries, I believe. I didn't get to check if Marcel actually did end up doing her classes on Monday, but there was some very interesting competitiveness between the instructors that we got to see.
I don't think she did.
She didn't, yeah. Marcel was at the back of the tug of war. Oh, yeah. Marcel was at the back of tug of war, and bless her heart. I mean, she
just
put
get some rope burns on her hands or something.
Her back. She fell on her back, and I think twisted her knee a little bit, and then got some serious burns on her back. It was a ton of fun. It was a ton of fun.
That might be one change going into the next city if they have field day. Instructors are not allowed to participate in tug of war.
I would believe that. That makes sense. Yes, that does make sense. That definitely does make sense. The first time around, Matt Wilpers was the big winner. His team was the big winner in the 8 o'clock session, and Marcel's team did in fact win round 2. So they were the 10 o'clock winners. So at least she had something, a nice shiny medal that she could go home with her team for her injuries. From there, we headed back up to Alpharetta. So that was, as Chris said, was held down at the Mercedes-Benz. They call it the Home Depot backyard because it was just behind the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And then we which
was actually downtown in Atlanta.
Yes, in town. And then we did the 45-minute or so drive back to Alpharetta, where Alex did do a, I don't really want to call it a panel because it was just him, and Marcel was, kind of introduced him and asked the questions. It was definitely in preparation of his book launch and the release of his book. But he didn't really speak much about the book. He really just spoke about his journey and how he got to where he is today. And it was just beautiful, absolutely incredible to listen to. I mean, at one point, I don't think there was a dry eye in the audience. We all were definitely very moved by Alex's story. But that was beautiful, absolutely amazing. And then you had an opportunity to kind of chat with them after. Saturday morning, wrapped it up with 3 workout sessions. So again, different to what they had done in Los Angeles, in Santa Monica. Here they had a yoga class with Chelsea that started at 8, and then there were 2 strength weight classes. And the area that they had it in had a beautiful big green, which again was just done so amazingly. They had big tents up. So although yes, it was hot on Saturday, everybody was kind of sheltered and covered. They had big tents up. The instructors were up on a stage. They had 100 mats put out for everybody. And as I said, go ahead, Chris.
The big difference was in LA, they were taping the classes so that they could be on-demand classes, which from LA, they're actually in the library now you can take. They said ahead of time that the Atlanta classes, we're not recording these for the on-demand library. We're not trying to capture it for people at home. These classes are designed for the people there taking the classes. So that was kind of the big difference. And there in LA, members just sat in chairs and watched the coach work out. Versus, like Amanda was saying, they had the mat set up and you were working out along with the coaches here in Atlanta.
And while I would have loved to have gotten into Chelsea's because it was absolutely spectacular, I was very pleased that I was standing on the other side of the railings during the strength classes because they were brutal. So Kirsten, first up was Matt and Marcel, I believe. And then
Kirsten.
Kirsten did both of them. Kirsten did. So Kirsten and Matt did the first round, with Kirsten being the cheerleader and Matt doing the classes, the exercises. And then the second was Alex, with Kirsten and John being the cheerleaders, and kind of adding in.
So Kirsten and Matt Wilpers were not officially part of the last one. They just finished their session and kind of hopped in as a bonus. So officially the second one was Alex leading and John being in the crowd. And then Kirsten and Matt Wilpers kind of joined in just because they wanted to, and, interacted with members during the final workout as well.
Which was really fun to see, So that was the workout sessions. And then from there, they brought folks back to the store for a free event. So this event was not one that folks had to pay for, and it had my name all over it. It was a Club Husky party, and it was so much fun. I was kind of curious to see how that was going to work. I figured there were going to be lines, and it was 2 hours. It was from 12 to 2. I thought that it was really going to be mobbed. It really worked out beautifully. There was a line to get started for people to get in, but kind of towards the end, the showroom actually emptied out really nicely, and you had a nice opportunity to really get to chat, to John, and then he brought out Alex, Matt, and Kirsten, who kind of mingled with the crowd, went outside and took pictures with folks, danced. They had music, they had punch, they had cupcakes made with Club Husky on them. It was just fun. It was just a fun event where people could just get to meet each other. We really did have so much fun. And then Saturday night, they did the leaderboard awards. This was done where folks could, in fact, purchase tickets to this leaderboard award. And then, of course, they had the winners, those folks that walked away with an award at the event as well. So again, this is just my perspective to it. I'm going to give you my 2 cents in this. Chris can certainly chime in. Yes, Chris.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my perspective was it was a little bit too crowded. I do not think it should have been a paid event. I think that the award winners should have been allowed to bring 2 guests. In LA, they were only allowed to bring 1. They should have been allowed to have brought 2 guests, and that should have been. It should have been a more intimate setting. I felt that, folks didn't really know who the winners were. Certainly some people didn't. So it just tended to get lost. I just felt that the winners didn't quite get the accolades that they should have. And I think if it had been more intimate, they probably would have just appreciated it a little bit more. It was very crowded. And I don't think it was worth the $60, to be honest. I really don't. I mean, you can add your 2 cents, Chris, on that.
Yeah, I generally agree with what you were saying. In LA, there was no buying tickets for it. So it was just the winners, their plus ones, and the instructors, and it was very intimate. And I think Peloton wanted to get the word out about the winners more widely, and that's why they opened it up to letting people pay to be there. But like you were saying, the room became very crowded, and there could probably be a couple tweaks before they do that again in the next city, just because, the winners got up there and then people were trying to get photos with the instructors after, and it just became a little hectic in there towards the end of the evening after they did the official presentation of the awards.
That sounds like something, they kind of probably learned. I'm sure they learned from that, because when you say that, I saw how intimate it was in LA, but your initial thought would be, wow, we can make this more grandeur. Let's add more people. Yeah, it sounds like that would be a logical next thought.
It didn't.
But it sounds like it just didn't work out.
I think maybe they scale it back a little bit more to be in the middle. That might be a happy medium. But, that's why they're doing it this way. The events are a month plus apart. They're not announcing the events until 4 weeks ahead of time, so that they can, take learnings in each city and adjust it before each stop on the tour.
Yeah, agreed.
One other thing that I wanted to mention, there was actually another event that Peloton had. I forget whether it was Friday or Saturday, but Chelsea and Kirsten went to Spelman College, and they hosted a live gospel yoga flow with a choir for some of the students at Spelman. They didn't really publicize this ahead of time. I think they worked with the university to let the students get there and take part of that. They shared a reel on Instagram about it. And then after the yoga flow, Kirsten led a movement panel as well, where Kirsten and I think Chelsea was up there as well, kind of having a discussion for the students. So that was kind of a little extra thing they did, which was open to lots of students, but it wasn't one where they opened it up to the wider Peloton community. And everyone who was at those seemed to really love it. And the choir, being a live choir there for Chelsea's gospel yoga flow, I can only imagine what that was like.
Yeah, we hadn't seen any footage on that, but it was Friday afternoon, Chris. It was when Alex did
There's an Instagram reel on Peloton Studios sharing some of that footage, so they had a post about it over the weekend.
Was amazing. Yeah, I left a little piece of me in Atlanta. I have to tell you, it was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful.
And I'm sorry I didn't get to see you, Amanda. I actually wasn't there primarily for that. I was there really because my daughter now lives in that area. So I was
think
only
we
there
were passing ships. I think you left on Thursday and I arrived on Thursday. We were literally two passing ships in the wind. But it was beautiful. It was a really, really, and I have to say, I mean, people heard this. I gave up Beyonce tickets to go, and it was worth every minute of it. I'd filled my bucket and the bucket is overflowing. So yeah, Jeffrey McKeachin Jeffrey McKeachin was not impressed with me, but he told me as long, he'll still be my friend. But it was worth it. It truly was. It was an amazing experience. And I really, really, had a fantastic time. And just knowing that it was Chris's hometown, for me, being able to be there and being in his hometown and getting to see him and meet Chrissy for the first time, his beautiful wife. It was just, honestly, I have nothing negative to say. So yeah, that's my recap of Peloton on tour. With that being said, we have a couple birthdays. We are wishing a very happy birthday to Charlotte Wiederhorn, who celebrated last Sunday. Wiedenbach. Sorry, thank you. I knew I'd make a mistake somewhere. Charlotte Wiedenbach celebrated on the 20th. Kristen Ferguson, right back from Atlanta, celebrated on the 22nd. And my beautiful friend Mariana celebrated her birthday just yesterday, the 26th, on Saturday. So happy birthday to our Peloton instructors. And I guess we're going to go right into Instructor in the News. John, kick it off.
So Christine D'Erico, we kick off with Christine D'Erico. Apparently she has a book in the works, because this past week during an Instagram Ask Me Anything, someone asked her, when is she going to write a book? And she simply responded into that Instagram story question, it's coming. So be on the lookout for hopefully an announcement soon about an upcoming book that she is doing. It's been quite a year for Peloton authors. As we know, Robin has had a book. Emma has released a book. Cody next month, his book is coming out. It's right around the corner. I think September 11th or 12th. Ben's book is coming out this month. And then Alex's book is coming out later this year. And then Matty Majacomo recently announced that he is writing a book with his mom. So it wouldn't surprise me that Christine is putting one out as well, because she's had quite a career as an instructor and as a competitive cycling athlete, and I'm sure a lot of us would like to hear her story as well. And I recently learned this past week in the pre-show of her, I think it was her 20-minute Broadway ride. I didn't know that she, has some acting credits to her name. She was in the movie Dead Poets Society and had a part in that movie and had some lines. I thought that was pretty cool. And, she's told a lot of her stories that she's well known for, the Hakalea, volcano ride, but I'd never heard that story before. So that got me watching Dead Poets Society again this week. Just to see her in there.
That's awesome.
And then obviously a massive congratulations to her on the medals that she won individually and with her team at the USA Cycling National Championships in South Carolina. So she got the gold in the team sprint, and then the gold medal in the team pursuit race, which they set a new American record for in the 45 to 55 age group. And then she got a silver medal in the point, scratch, and 2K individual pursuit. And what's fun is in the recent 30-minute Power Zone endurance ride that she did on August 23rd, in the thumbnail photo, she's wearing all 5 of those freshly awarded medals. With her hands, held high up in the air proudly. So I thought that was cool that she included those, incorporated those into the class.
Absolutely amazing. Huge congrats to her. All right. And for those Cody lovers, he's added an extra stop on his book tour folks in Austin, Texas, September 17th at 7 p.m., he will be at the Paramount Austin. Tickets do need to be purchased for the event. So if you are interested in attending, make sure you purchase your tickets.
Nice.
And in addition to that, Cody has also, Peloton Studios announced on Thursday that they are doing a book launch event at Peloton Studios New York for the book. That's going to take place on September 11th at 4 p.m. at PSNY. Tickets for that were $50 each, which got you a signed copy of his book, and I'm sure you're going to be able to get photos as well. In addition, there's going to be a Q&A session with Cody, which Jen Sherman is going to moderate. And who knows who else will show up to that. So that's going to be at September 11th at PSNY as well.
Very cool. I love
Nice.
that. I love that Jen's the moderator for that, because I know they're close. This is like the one time I wish I still lived in Austin.
Yep.
Because the Paramount Theater is actually, it's a fun venue for, when they do like South by Southwest, they have movies there. So in Austin city limits.
I think that Jen's going to be the moderator in New York, though, not in Austin, right, Chris?
No, yeah, at PSNY.
Yeah, PSNY.
Yeah, okay, I was
perfect.
just digressing about no longer living in Austin.
About Austin.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I keep seeing all these people in the Boo Crew saying how they scored VIP tickets in the second row, and I'm trying not to be jealous. And
No.
Oh, well. Anyways, while we're on the subject of book launch events, Ben Aldis is having an event on Saturday, September 2nd in London. This is how I got confused on the PSL event with Kendall. His book launch event is going to be at 1 Langley Street, which is basically the Peloton corporate office around the corner from PSL. It has a cost of £45. As of last week, ticket sales were closed, so it's all sold out. And tickets were not transferable, apparently, or refundable, or cancelable. And there was a limit of 2 per purchase. But with that, you get a copy of the book. When you arrive, you can get it signed by Ben, get a photo op as well with him. And in addition, Leanne will be at the event. She'll be hosting a Q&A with him. And it's scheduled to last about 2.5 hours. And it'll start with a breakfast reception and a chance to meet and mingle with the community. And then also there's this pre-order contest with Ben's book. If you pre-order a copy of Raise the Bar from any retailer, you have a chance to win a one-night stay at the Pig Hotel location, which I guess is a popular hotel chain in UK.
Yes, in the UK.
The Pig Hotel.
Yes. And they stay there. They actually stay there a lot.
Ben and Leanne do? Okay.
They love it. They love it there.
Pig Hotel location of your choice, and 2 tickets to Ben's in-studio Peloton class, including a meet and greet. So, a nice little incentive if you're going to pre-order his book while you can before it's released at the end of the month.
I know. Awesome. Keeping on the Hainsby Aldis duo, our beloved Leanne recently celebrated a significant personal milestone. 1 year of being alcohol-free. So Leanne shared her journey of being alcohol-free for a year on both Instagram and Facebook, saying that the decision to stop drinking alcohol came a day before she was told she most likely had breast cancer. So initially, she stopped drinking to ensure she was healthy throughout her cancer treatments. However, she continued her sobriety after witnessing positive benefits to herself, including mental clarity, increased confidence, enhanced productivity, deeper connections, and quality time with loved ones. Also, it improved her sleep, food choices, energy, and her skin health. So as we all know, Leanne was diagnosed with breast cancer back in August of 2022, 6 months before publicly announcing it. She emphasized the importance of getting a second opinion, as she was initially told everything was okay when she discovered a lump in her breast. She shared that she hasn't spoken about her alcohol-free choice until reaching this milestone. She acknowledged that her reasons for stopping might be more intense than most, given her grief, and subsequent cancer diagnosis. However, she emphasized that her decision was personal and that what works for her might not work for everyone. She expressed pride in her achievement and noted that while the journey hasn't always been easy, she doesn't feel like she's missing out. She says she still enjoys a good time, albeit in a different way. And I take my hat off to Leanne. I think it's amazing. And I love that she is being public about it because, as we all know, it just helps so many others out there that have made the same choice. So huge kudos to her yet again for, sharing something so personal out with the community.
That's great. Well, congratulations to Tobias Hines, who finished second in his 120-mile Trans Rockies race in Colorado recently. He had posted on Instagram and said, what a blast, 6 days, 6 stages, 120 miles, and a few peaks in an altitude up to 14,000 feet. What can I say? We had fun, we made friends, and we smashed it. Second overall in the mixed category. I mean, 120 miles, that's like Susie Chan. That's a whole other level of running.
A whole other level.
Wild.
It was done over 3 days, though. His was done over 3 days. He did it with his wife, which I think is so fantastic that the two of them did it together. And huge shout out to Lena Bender.
Was it?
Who is a big Tobias fan out in Colorado and was there to meet him at the start of the race, and then to congratulate them and be at the finish line at the end of the race. So that was it was so lovely that she's Estonian chick on the leaderboard.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just fantastic that he got some of the community support out there as well. So I'm so glad that we shared the story because it is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I think it was 6 days, not 3. I think you accidentally misspoke and said it was
6
3
stages.
days.
Sorry,
Yeah, it was 6 stages over 6 days.
Spread it out.
Got it.
Huge congrats to them because that's not a flat course out there in Colorado they were doing. So lots of elevation to go with that 120 miles too.
Yeah. But anyway, great achievement. And then besties, Allie Love and Emma Lovewell were reunited live on the Today Show when Allie surprised Emma during her live TV segment. And the two of them ended up doing a perfect Running Man. Was really fun. And they posted it on their social media.
Very cool. Well, Kendall was recently on a podcast. She was interviewed on the Net Positive podcast hosted by John Chris. She talked all about her journey, where she is now, some of the hurdles she's had to overcome and get through. She talked about, starting at Peloton, some child acting experiences, and she also shouted out the Never Knocked Out crew and the Never Knocked Out tagline. But that one, I don't know if the full interviews, if it's video form, but she did share some video clips of it. But it's obviously on all podcast platforms.
Nice. And Jess King was also featured in a recent podcast. The episode titled Dancing Through Motherhood, Jess King's Journey. It was hosted by Liz Tennety on the Motherly podcast. It offers an intimate look into Jess King's journey through motherhood and how it has impacted her life, touching on topics that many new mothers can relate to. She talks about welcoming her son last year and that her partner Sophia recently gave birth to their daughter. She shared her home birth experience, emphasizing the emotional and physical aspects of it. She also discussed how she has learned to accept her postpartum body and the changes that came with it. Jess talked about what it has been like to witness her partner Sophia's pregnancy so soon after her own, offering a very unique perspective on the experience. She provided on how to get moving postpartum, emphasizing the importance of listening to one's body and taking things at one's own pace, which I think is so important for new mothers. Knowing when to come back and how to navigate coming back into a fitness journey. And then lastly, our running queen, Susie Chan, has been asked to be an ambassador for the charity that brought her beautiful dog Manny into her life. Pause to Rescue UK. Susie shares that they do fantastic work helping suffering animals abroad. They provide medical care, food and shelter, as well as vet training scholarships. But rehoming some of the lucky ones is how Susie got Manny, who came from Romania. She shares that he had never been inside her home, didn't know how to walk upstairs, and had been beaten and poisoned. But now that he has a safe place to run around in and run miles with her. So what an incredible organization that she is going to be a part of, because as we all know, she has an incredible love of animals, specifically dogs. So huge shout out to Susie.
That's great.
And that wraps up Instructor in the News. So I guess, are we going to do these?
Still going? Are we still going? It's a long one.
let's blaze through them real quick since we skipped last week.
All right. So first up, Bradley Rose's 20-minute 2010s pop ride from August 17th. We got that from Amajar 3. They said fun playlist with Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, Mumford & Sons, Bruno Mars, and more. And then Eric Yeager's 30-minute dance music ride, which was in English, on August 18th. Bertha C. runs MD. Tara-ish, Karen Zemskyberry, somebody gave us this one. They said his last two PSNY English rides, this and his 2000s ride from 820 were so fun. He's sweet and cute and funny all at the same time, and I love how he interacted with the guest instructors in the class. And he put together great playlists for both classes. All right, Cody's 30-minute pop ride from August 18th. Got this from Everyday Julie K and Mick Govs. They said nothing to say other than another Cody gem.
Awesome. Anna Greenberg, 30 minutes slow flow yoga from the 18th, 5:30 p.m. Amajar 3 recommended this one. Great way to unwind from the week. Anna is always great with these. Next up, Selena Samuela's 60-minute walk plus run from the 19th. This one came from Rachel Spins 24, as well as Bertha C. runs MD. They said it really flew by because of how she structured the run portions and her awesome energy. Prepare to rack up a lot of miles in this class. And then Bex Gentry's 30-minute country run. This one was from the 20th at 9 a.m. Verasa Piro and E. Miller 26 recommended this one, and said Bex always delivers a great class and always shouts out all milestones. So motivating when your instructor makes sure to honor your milestone.
All right, Mariana Fernandez's 30-minute pop run from the 20th. We got this from Kaylee Marie. She said, One Hit Wonders playlist and so fun. And then Logan's 20-minute pop punk walk from August 21st. We got this from It's the Bruin. They said fun pop punk playlist to start the morning off. And then Christine's, I just mentioned earlier, Christine's 20-minute Broadway ride from August 21st. Got this from Rachel Spins 24. Amazing Broadway playlist, and her words were so meaningful.
Nice. All right. John Husking, premiere, 30-minute 2000s walk. It was from the 22nd. This one was given by our friend Roz Reich 712. Great playlist. And he shared a lot of stories from his childhood. He sure did. So make sure you take that one. It's awesome. Aditi Shah, her 15-minute Pilates from the 22nd. Amajar 3 recommended great beginner class, and we need more beginner Pilates classes. Adrian Williams, 10-minute lower body stretch. Steve RT 24. You can never go wrong with a good stretch from Adrian. And this one was from the 23rd.
All right. Rad Lopez's 20-minute strength roll call 4 from August 23rd. We got this from Julie MJ. She said, great energy and music.
And I'm going to take the next one, and that's why I got all confused there. But Maddie Majacomo, folks, If you do yourselves a favor, take one walk on the platform, and that's this one. So Maddie has his walk and talk series on a Wednesday morning, which we know is going to become a regular thing in September with a title to it. But this past week, his 30-minute, it's labeled a pop walk on the 23rd, was just beyond. This one was one of mine. It also was recommended by my friend Cheryl, Mama Ped, and my friend Mani, Mans 11. And, what Maddie does in these is he takes news stories from the week and he shares them. But the biggest news story which impacts him, and he said really rocked him to the core, is the, horrific murder of a woman out in Lake Arrowhead in California, because she flew a gay pride flag and she flew it proudly. She was a mother of 9.
Oh yeah, the business owner.
A wife, just an incredible human being from what I'm hearing from folks. I happened to have posted his reel, and, he just shared from his heart, his feelings about it. And it was just a way to really accept, for us to learn a little bit more. And it was just incredible. So definitely take that one. And I'll let you close it out.
Rounding it out, last one, Toon Days, 30-minute hip-hop ride from August 23rd. We got this from Ashley6504. She said, Toon Days first class back from Australia, and it was tough. Lots of tough intervals in this one.
All right, folks. Well, if you're still around, thank you. It was a long show this week. We had to throw in 2 weeks into one. There was so much to share with you, but we appreciate, as always, you listening, staying with us, and we hope that we brought you what you wanted to hear this week. So for me here down in Miami, bye for now, everybody.
And from me here in Atlanta, we'll see you next week.
Yes, and for me here in Michigan, we do want to give a very special thanks to John Mills, who had to cut out a few minutes early, but special thanks to him for joining us for the bulk of the show and giving us his insight on that earnings call. And it's always good to banter with him and, hear his opinion on all things Peloton otherwise. So thank you as always for tuning in from all over, and we will see you on the leaderboard. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.